Josh DeWitt with Brookstone Kennels. You know, we've talked a lot about it, and my friends and folks that come down and visit and clients and things like that, I talk about it a lot, and that is setting your young dog up for success that very first year you take them out on live hunts. It's so important that you get them out there and that they have success, but that the setup is right. And we were fortunate enough this year to take 2 of our young dogs out on their very first live hunts, and we're able to get that on camera, and we're going to share that with you this year. And I'm going to talk about both of them and the dogs and talk a little bit about the difference between the two. The first one that I want to talk about, and I'm so excited that you guys are going to get to see it, is Quinn and Patty that we took down to Texas with us. Guys, first live hunts, I never would have dreamed in my life that I would ever get to take a young dog out on their very first hunt on sandhill cranes, and that's exactly what we did. And both the dogs had success, and I was really happy with Quinn, because the first time I took him out and ran him on one of those birds, he went out and hit it and picked it and delivered it. Everything was picture perfect. And as I think back in my mind about that, it's just because of all the work that we put into him, getting him set up so that when he picked that first bird, regardless if it was a crane, a duck, a goose, or what, he was ready for it. And this is what I'm talking about with these young dogs. You don't want to take them into a very complex situation where you've got 4, 5, 6 guns in the blind and everybody's firing away. That's too much pressure for these young dogs. You want to pick something nice and simple where you've got either some easy marks or some very easy blinds, so that that dog learns all the pieces are coming together. There's so much going on with him in that first hunt. Gunpowder, live birds, guys laughing, stuff going on in the blind that's not that easy to train for, that you're just going to have to experience when you take that dog out for the first hunt. So with him, it was exactly what I was looking for. It was a hunt that we did in a peanut field. There wasn't too much complex about it. You could see the birds laying out there in that bright red dirt. It was picture perfect. And took him out, and like I said, we dropped some birds. I had a nice retrieve that I picked out for him. We had multiple birds down. I didn't let him go right away, and sent him out, and he picked that bird, and like I said, brought it back, and it was picture perfect. I couldn't have planned it any better with him, with any of the young dogs. It just happened to be him that day that went out and did it, and I couldn't be more proud of him.
Go back, go back, go back. Good lad, good lad. Good lad. Good boy. Come on, funny boy. Good lad. Good lad. Good Quinn.
Boy. Dead. Good boy. That's my boy.
Can't tell you how happy I am right now. 18-month-old dog. We've been working up to this point. This is his first big road trip. This is Quinn, by the way. First big road trip. His first actual hunt. And he just picked up 2 sandhill cranes for his first 2 birds. Pretty emotional moment for me right now. Pretty emotional moment for me right now, just to see one of my young dogs that I've been bringing up through our program, and his first 2 picks are these huge sandhill cranes. Unbelievable. It's all the training come together. It's all the hours, it's all the work, it's everything going into it to see it all come together on the first retrieve. So very special moment. I'm so happy, so tickled. Good boy, Quinn.
Good lad.
Quinn is one of those middle of the road dogs, I call him, where he's got good drive, he's got good boldness, but he's also got a soft side to him, so he's exactly right there in the middle of the road, which all added up to a perfect day for him and for me, and we couldn't have been more prouder of him. The other dog that we got out on a first year hunt this year was Fergus, Brookstone Fergus, out of our diesel Drew litter. And very similar, he did not go to Texas with us, but we did one of our hunts down in southeast Missouri in the Boot Heel, and it happened to be a spec hunt that day. And it was one of those slow days. Like I've said, we did not have a stellar season in southeast Missouri last year. So that day was different. We were laid out in a spread. The dog, we sat there for hours, literally all day, and then we'd get 2 birds in at a time every 3-4 hours. It was one of those days where you just sat. And it was absolutely perfect for him because it allowed us to check his steadiness and all of his obedience work that we had put into him. And so not only did he have the downtime, and he had to sit there nice and quiet and patient, and he didn't get up from there. He wasn't all over anybody. He did absolutely perfect with his obedience. And here again, we had a small group of specs come in. The guide told us to go ahead and pull up and shoot. And again, I had a perfect retrieve for Fergus to run him on his first one. Fergus is a little bit different dog. He's a little bit on the softer side. He's a confident dog, but he doesn't have the huge drive, so this was a perfect setup for him. He could mark those birds down, but he didn't break, which was perfect. He waited while I worked the other dogs on the other 3 birds that we had, and then the one that was left was the one I got to send Fergus on.
Go back. Good lad. Lots of encouragement here. Good boy. Good lad. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good lad. Good lad. Good boy.
Did he drive out real hard like you would see with a finished dog? No, but I don't expect that from Fergus at this point in his training. But what he did do is he did go out and he did pick that bird for me, and he did do his best to bring it back and deliver it. He had a little bit of trouble with his hold, which is exactly what I want to see. It was a bigger bird. Very wet, muddy day that day. That was an environment that we hadn't trained in before, so that was also good for him to get to experience that. At the end of the day though, he did everything we asked, and that's all you can ask for with these started dogs. You can't expect the world. They're not finished. You can't expect them to do great big gigantic things that first season out. Again, the important thing is nice, simple, set them up for success, and that's what we were able to do with both these young dogs.